How appropriate that the dryer song is going off as we start this video. Will the laundry ever end? The answer is no, and I know it's about to get even crazier once baby arrives. Hello, welcome back to my channel and to another fold while I chat your ear off. Each time I do this, recently I'm like, is this the last time I do one of these before this baby arrives? We will see, folks, we will see. Also, before I really get into the subject of the video, I was like going through comments and people are like, your folding is whack. And I'm not denying that. It's just how, yes girl, get it. It's just how it works best for me. So, you know, I never claimed to be good at folding, but at least I'm like trying to do it. At least I'm doing it. At least it's not in a pile. It stays in a pile for a while, but eventually it becomes some sort of a fold. Okay, here we are. Hi guys. I am terrified suddenly. I had received comments a lot being like, hey, will you talk about your like medical anxiety surrounding this birth? And I think I kind of touched on this subject a while ago, being like, I don't know, I'm sort of like just like hippie about it, which is like not like me. Well, guys, I maybe spoke too soon. I have hit the point. I'm like 30, when I'm recording this, I'm 38 and a half weeks, and I've just like hit the point where I'm completely terrified. I am completely hormonal and emotional, and I feel like every day I'm riding a roller coaster, and the medical anxiety of like the actual birth and the hospital, it has kicked in severely, and I will touch on that in a moment. Another anxiety that I'm having at the moment as I continue to sort of prep for baby is this idea of, and we talked about this in last week's video. Are you trying to get comfortable? She's still trying to get better too, which is like definitely adds like stress to the plate. And don't worry, this will turn out to be a positive video if you're like, okay, we get it, you're scared. I feel like I'm gaining a little bit of insight, or at least I have some ideas as to how to like taper my anxiety. But yeah, we talked about this a little bit about finding our voice in last week's video. I'm starting to feel a little bit nervous about breastfeeding and if I'm going to be able to, and like how that all goes, and the amount of pressure that's going to be put on me at the hospital, and then like on mostly by myself, my own self-talk to like make this happen, and how that's going to affect my postpartum and the baby and blah 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 blah. Anyways, this weekend my back went out, which is like, you know, very typical for women who are pregnant, and I'm actually really grateful that it didn't happen earlier. I have a friend who like just suffered with sciatica truly the whole time through her pregnancy, and that's just seeing that, like what it felt like this weekend. I can't imagine having to go the full like 9 months with that on and off. That's just like so debilitating. So I was able to get in to see an acupuncturist that came really highly recommended for my mom, who took me, which was like so sweet. I'm having very like sentimental moments as my mom always shepherds me through life and always like helps me. Oh my god, I'm gonna get emotional. My mom is amazing. Mom, if you're watching this, you're my heart and my soul, and I hope I could be as good a mother as you are to me. The other day she like brought over stuff for me to pack in my hospital bag, and she like labeled everything with my name on it, like she used to do when I was a kid, like going to camp, you know, or like going to school. And it's like, wow, how like special that she's doing this still as I'm about to bring in my own daughter, who I will be doing this for, you know, 40 years later or whatever, God willing. There's just something so like emotional and like sweet and full circle about that, and I was so grateful. So anyways, I called her and I was like, dude, my back is like killing me. So she got me into her acupuncturist, and she took me, and he was lovely, and you know, he put in all the little needles, and then he left the room, and my mom was just like holding my hand, and I was just crying because emotional. This is just such a roller coaster. And as I've come to learn, this like last couple of weeks it's very typical for ladies to like ride these like hormonal roller coasters more so than throughout the rest of the pregnancy. So even just hearing that from my friends who have been pregnant has been really helpful. It makes me feel a little less like, I feel like I'm like a little nuts right now and I don't really feel like myself, but hearing that other people, this is like very typical for this time and stage in the pregnancy, makes me feel better. But getting back to being there on the table with these needles in me, and like normally it's not a big deal, but I was just like, it kind of like set off this full-blown like panic attack until the chi set in, and I was very like zenned out like 20 minutes in. But like at first it like set off this idea of like, whoa, I'm about to like be in the hospital, I'm about to be poked and pricked, and this is like no joke, like this is happening. If you've been following me for a long time, you know like I'm just like not good at doctor's offices. Even just walking into a doctor's office, I get kind of dizzy, and like, you know, all that anxiety symptoms, all those anxiety symptoms like kick in for me. And I feel like I've been doing pretty good at my current doctor's office. I've gotten kind of like the routine, but it all sort of flooded back to me when I was laying on that table there. And I recognized that I'm just like finally very nervous about the actual act of giving birth. Like I'm terrified, and I think I have been protecting myself from really going there because I know that I'm so sensitive to these kind of things. And so I'm like, you know what, let's just protect my head and my heart for right now, because there's no use in worrying until, you know, the time comes. But now the time is coming and it could come any day, which I think adds to the anxiety, right? Like there's this like, we don't know when she's coming. And there's something about that too, that out of control feeling, like it could come like right, like I could literally, my water could break right now. Please don't. That would make one heck of a video. So there's that. And so I've kind of just been putting off really wrapping my head around it. And we even took, like, I think I had mentioned to you guys, we took the birthing class, and like I took it in, I thought about it, and I listened to everything, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna put that on the back burner for right now, because there's no use in me like obsessing about everything right now, you know. But here we are, and yeah, the fear has completely kicked in, and I had a really bad day yesterday. If I'm being honest, I feel like I hit a point of like depression that I was really struggling to get out of. And I did, as I am going to tell you, if you hit a point of depression at any point in your life, and we talk about this on the channel all the time, obviously reach out for professional help. I'm not here to do that. I'm not a professional. This is just my own experience. But like for me, what I have found specifically through this pregnancy, but just generally speaking, is like talking about it and reaching out immediately to friends and family and or therapists. I also have reached out to my therapist many times in these situations, like to a professional, is to immediately do that is so helpful, because then you're not sitting in your loneliness and you're not sitting in your thoughts, you're getting them out. And sometimes it's embarrassing. Like I felt kind of embarrassed to like reach out to some of my friends yesterday, because I felt like I have a lot of pride in this pregnancy, and I have a lot of pride in like, I feel like I've been handling this really well. And like I kind of surprised myself by that, and I'm like really proud of myself for that. And so I kind of felt like I was failing yesterday, and I kind of felt like I fell apart, and I was kind of embarrassed to be sharing that with people, because I thought maybe then they would think differently of me, which is insane. These are friends that I've had since literally I was in elementary school. But I did it anyways, and I reached out to a ton of my friends who have gone through this experience, and to say it was helpful would be an understatement. I feel so much better today. I have a few girlfriends coming by later today to just sit and visit and talk. And as much as like sometimes when you're not feeling good, you don't want to have company. Like I've been feeling kind of antisocial, which I think I've mentioned before in a video. I'm just like forcing it, and I'm doing it like in the comfort of my own home, like within my boundaries, but I'm forcing myself to allow people in. And I'm telling you, it's like a world of difference, even though like my back still kind of hurts today. The world of difference in terms of how I'm feeling, my mood, and my outlook on everything. Also, I was expressing this to Jeff, and he was so helpful and just being like, this is like, first of all, really normal, which is helpful, because when you feel like you're the only one that's experiencing this, or like that has ever experienced these feelings, you know, it makes it worse. So this is normal. And also, like, you're going into this medical situation for a good reason. It's not an emergency, knock on wood. You've been so healthy up until this point. Everything's just flowing, and sure, there might be some hiccups, but like, this is part of the process, and it's not like we're waiting to hear like terrible news or anything like that. Like, you are going in to do something that you've been prepping to do, that your body is prepped to do, that you're ready to do, and this is just sort of like the end line to this. So maybe you can take some of the worry out about it, because like, he's always so much more eloquent than I am. So when I'm trying to explain this, it never comes out as good as when he says it. Which drives me nuts, let me tell you. When he gives me like a motivational speech and then I try to give him one back, I can never do it as well. Drives me nuts. But essentially, like, this is like for a good reason, like, and this is part of it, and like, there is some control in this, even though it feels out of control, but like, this is just part of this process that we've been going through and prepping. And that he was so kind to be like, you've been working so hard to achieve a healthy, beautiful pregnancy. So that was helpful. And also to know that like thousands of millions of people do this, and that these doctors that we're going to go to do this like every hour on the hour, you know, just trying to bring some realism into, or some truth into these anxieties, because a lot of times anxieties are based in what ifs and not in truths. And so just grounding myself in that. But yeah, dude, this is a trip, man. This whole thing is just like such a trip. It's just like, I don't know. I guess I wasn't really like fully prepared to understand what this last like week or two was gonna feel like emotionally, and now physically with my back. But here we are, riding the waves, and I just wanted to share with you. Maybe it humanizes this experience for those who are going through it like actively, or will be going through it eventually, or even, I hope, down, you know, like that not everyone out there is pregnant or even planning on getting pregnant, but is still supporting and watching my videos. And like, I hope that specifically these like sort of mental health check-in days as we fold laundry, there's some sort of a takeaway that's like relevant to your situation, or just to life in general, which is like, you know, checking in with reality more so than letting your fears overtake you. And like, I don't think you need to shut out your fears completely. Like, I think I like to stand by this idea that like every emotion and feeling is like necessary, and like you should feel all those feels, because trying to suppress them, I feel, only makes it worse, and they come out in like nastier, bigger ways later down the line. But also then really sitting back and looking at, in terms of fear, what's real, what are facts, and what are just like these sort of spiraling thoughts that maybe aren't rooted in fact. So maybe that's helpful for someone out there who is experiencing fear in one way or another. I'm telling you, you guys were asking me about my medical anxiety, and so far, up until this point, I was like, I don't really have any. Well, here it is. It is here. It is large. But we're going to be working through it. And so, you know, reaching out to friends, looking at facts, and then just setting yourself up for as much success as possible, whatever that looks like. So again, for me, it's like, okay, I'm packing my hospital bag with things that are comforting, and knowing that like I have that in place that takes out some of the anxiety for breastfeeding, and having these products for real, are so helpful, because then I can at least put that out of my mind and then cross that bridge when it comes, but know that like, okay, I have support here, I have different options here, you know, things of that sort. Just really trying to compartmentalize, to organize, and just breathe. I'm telling you, acupuncture really was like super helpful, if nothing else than to just like kind of center me and try to find a little bit of peace in what has been kind of chaotic in my brain. So yeah, I'm curious to know for you guys, when you are facing some sort of a fear, maybe medical anxiety, but just generally speaking, like what is your best course of action to sort of help not suppress it, again, I don't feel like we should be like ignoring our feelings, but to help cultivate better mindset and practices around it and help you move through it. I would love to know in the comments below. I just, as always, feel like I've been ending all my videos saying thank you so much for going on this journey with me. You guys have been such a source of joy for me to make these videos. It like is a moment out of my my life that like allows me to stay grounded, talk it out, and like just know that there's other people on the other side rooting for me. Maybe there's a few who aren't. I mean, if you aren't, I don't really understand why you're here, but I guess that's the internet. But the rest of you, knowing that you're rooting for me, and I hope you always know, this sounds so cheesy, and maybe it sounds hyperbolic, but like, I'm always rooting for you too. You inspire me, and I feel like we're a team, we're a community here, and I'm so very grateful for you. So thank you for joining us today. I hope that you have a lovely day. I love you guys very much. Sorry I'm crying in every video. It just is what it is. There will be a vlog out, I think, on Thursday, and then we'll just see. Then we will just see. Thank you for sending love and light my way, into my baby girl's way, and I love you guys very much. Sorry, just crying. They're happy tears, I think. All right, see you guys next time. Bye.